Just very grateful to chat to current Dolphins coach Imraan Khan, who's also a former South African cricketer, played domestic cricket for the Dolphins, and even captained the SA under-19 side as well. But Imraan has the reins of the Dolphins franchise, so we're going to catch up with him and just see how things are going and talk a bit of cricket and his career. But Imraan, generally speaking, I believe the Dolphins have been playing some great cricket. And how have you been sort of managed to bring the best out of the players? Because there really have been some great results over the past couple of years.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for having me on your show. Yeah, look, it has been I guess, quite a successful period for the Dolphins over the last 2.5, sort of 3 years. Our starting point as a management team was really just trying to address the environment and the culture, trying to get that in the best possible space, everybody moving and working in one direction. I think that has always been a challenge here in KZN. We're such a dynamic and diverse group, players from different backgrounds, race groups, cultures, and in the past it's kind of been a little bit of a struggle getting everybody going in sort of one direction. So that was our starting point, fortunately, the guys bought into that process and then went on to play some really good cricket and produce some good results.
Definitely, and there's two names I want to touch on a bit later, who are doing really, really well because they're actually in the South African squad at the moment. But when you took the reins of the team, I think part of your thinking must have been, this is going to come down to pure hard work to get the guys to where we want to go. But do you believe that hard work eventually does lead to success?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when we came together as a staff, as a coaching staff, we knew that we had the ability within the squad. There are still some really exciting players within the group. And we just needed to create a clear identity of how we wanted to play across the various formats, and then work hard, like you said. I mean, there's no substitute for hard work, and the boys had, they put in some really good work through pre-seasons. In season, we were challenged across different moments through the seasons, but the boys, they responded really well to the different pressures.
No, they definitely did. But it was really, it's been good, like I mentioned at the beginning, to see you guys do so well over the past couple of years. Looking back at the 4-day competition, there were quite a few games that drawn, but I don't think one can look at it from a negative perspective. Every game's got a different situation and conditions, and then it's always not easy to balance things out. But how do you feel the squad approached the sort of the 4-day game specifically?
We tried to change a little bit of a tactical change, I guess, if you want to call it, from the previous year. Obviously, when we looked at our squad, we knew, losing a guy like Sen with the Sammy was a big loss for us, certainly from a bowling strategy point of view. And I still think we've played a decent 4-day campaign, even though we might not have won the amount of games that we would have liked to have won or competed at the top of the competition. I think we were the only unbeaten team in the season's 4-day competition. So I think that's something that, the players can be extremely proud of. We've, our challenge has really been trying to get 20 wickets this year in 4-day cricket. It's been hard work for our bowlers, I think, but I think it's been a good experience for them from a seam bowling perspective, to almost have that pressure of wanting to win the game for the team. A lot of them are young, and I think they will learn from this experience. Our batting group has been, they've played some really good cricket throughout the 4-day competition. All of them, I think, have had exceptional seasons. So, from that skill perspective, I think the guys have played some nice cricket.
Definitely. No, they have been playing some nice cricket. I really agree with you flat out there. You've had a number of players called up to the SA squad. Is that something that you sort of have conversations with your players once in a while and say, come on, you've been scoring runs, you're doing well, yeah? You've got to keep pushing a little bit more to get into that squad. Is that a conversation you might have with a couple of players once in a while, just to nudge them a bit more?
Look, I think as a professional athlete, you want to be playing at the highest level. So all our guys are motivated in wanting to, to represent their country somewhere along the line. So that's not something that we really need to address with the boys too much. We try and keep the guys focused in the moment, in the now. And obviously, if you take care of what you need to take care of, at the Dolphins, then more often than not, your higher honors will sort of come from that. So that's I guess that's a challenge for us as a coaching staff to try and keep guys in the moment, focused on producing and putting good performances together as a team, and that inevitably always takes care of national honors.
Yeah, true, very true. But I have to mention him. Keegan Peterson was phenomenal for South Africa against India. Played, I think, an exceptional innings there. But that composure, is that something that he sort of, I mean, because you coach him, did he sort of sit down and say, right, I got to handle this moment as well as I can and not let things rattle to me? How did he, I don't know, he produced such a good start. Any insight as to what sort of contributed to that? Because it was really amazing how he did what he did.
Yeah. Look, to be fair, I mean, before Keegan even joining the Dolphins, he was already producing fantastic performances on the domestic circuit. When we spoke to him to get him to come to the Dolphins, it was interesting and refreshing to hear his attitude towards the move. He obviously wanted to challenge himself or challenge his skill in different conditions. I think our conditions here at Kingsmead is unique, compared to some of the other places around the country. So he was really keen for that challenge, and I think his game has evolved and developed since his move here at the Dolphins. One thing that Keegan's always had is a great technique. He's such a it's probably textbook stuff that you see when when he's out in the middle and batting. I think his composure is a reflection of his personality. He's such a cool, calm guy. And I think you kind of see that in Test match cricket as well. It was a brutal series for batting against India, so the conditions were tough, but he made it look quite easy, and his Man of the Series award was fully deserved. Absolutely,
and I think it's almost like a breath of fresh air having him available for Bangladesh, if I'm not mistaken. And I just think that adds so much more calmness, I believe, especially in the top order where things have been, I think, interesting for South Africa because there seems to be a bit of inconsistency there. Do you feel that also that he's just going to add a bit more calmness to that starting, well, let's say that the top order?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, when you've got a player that's Man of the Series and unfortunately has to miss the next Test series due to COVID, I think it's a little bit of a blow to your team. But I guess these are the challenges that we're living in at the moment with the pandemic and COVID. But certainly he'll add a great value to that Proteas batting lineup again. Again, he's playing in conditions that he's familiar with at Kingsmead, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the second test is in PE.
That's right.
So I think conditions will suit his style of play, and I think he'll definitely add a great composure and balance to that Proteas batting lineup.
Definitely. And now the next person I want to chat about, and actually I can ask this question for both guys. SA Aravia. Now that's an interesting one because he got picked for SAA, I think it was in 2019, round about there, and he still had this ambition and drive to represent South Africa. And when you're 32 years of age, most guys will look at you and say, you've passed your peak. What contributed him to just grind it out and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to play for South Africa? Because I think his story is actually quite unique.
I think it is a very special story. I remember playing club cricket with SJ many years ago. I don't even think he had a Dolphins contract or a semi-pro contract at that stage. I mean, he's just a soldier of the system. He's always been a player with ability, but he's been in the trenches and he's worked exceptionally hard through the years at various levels of the game. His attitude and spirit is unbelievable. He never gives up. He's got a fantastic work ethic. And I think when you've got those types of characteristics, then at some point down the line, it doesn't matter how long it takes, but you will achieve your goals and objectives as an individual. And I think he's just now starting to reap the rewards of all that all that effort and grind that he had to go through in the early parts of his career.
Yeah, because I think he could have asked for a better start when he scored that century in New Zealand. And I feel, not a selector, but that surely gives him a bit more time in the squad because he was in the squad for quite a few series. Now he got to play against New Zealand. Surely by scoring that century, he has to start in starting 11 for a few more games. What do you think, Imraan?
Well, you would like to think so. And obviously, I think with where the test squad is at the moment, a couple of the regulars are playing in the IPL. That does create opportunity for guys like SJ to continue playing in the team. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see, until they select that playing 11. He's done himself no harm by getting that 100 in New Zealand. And again, I think it would make sense for him to continue in the team because he is playing the first test is at home at Kingsmead in conditions that he's very, very familiar with. So yeah, it would make sense for him to continue in the team, but I guess we're just going to have to wait and see.
Well, yeah, definitely. But being selected for South Africa, do you feel it's also given him quite a bit more confidence? Because watching some of the domestic games in the One Day Cup, he seems to be seeing the ball quite well from what I've gathered, getting quite a few half centuries. He just seems to be a bit more a pep in the step, bit more composure, but in the same breath, like he's confident. He can do this. He believes. That's the body language I'm picking up. I don't know, you're the coach. Maybe I'm misread it there, but any feedback on that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can. It's definitely added a string to his bow. You can see his confidence levels is quite high at the moment. But to be fair, I mean, if I look at what SJ has done over the last 3-4 years in domestic cricket, it's been outstanding. His performances have been next level. Hence, he's been included in squads for the Proteas test 11 or test teams. And then we mustn't forget that he was just man of the series now against India A, the SAA India A series in Bloemfontein. So he's been playing good cricket, not off late, but for a very, very long time.
Yeah, true. Already as a testament about what we spoke about earlier about working hard, which is really good to see. Let's just touch on mindset, if you don't mind, very briefly. You got a guy like Keegan Peterson, who said that before he joined the Dolphins, was making lots of runs, doing what he does. You got Esha Advia, who's grinding it out and grinding it and grinding it out. They never seem to let disappointment get to them. Was it also, do you believe, a sort of contributing factor as to why they're playing at the highest level now? They never let disappointment get them.
Yeah, I mean, I think you find that sort of that trait or quality amongst your more senior sort of players. The ability to stick to processes religiously, not focus too much on the outcomes. And I think that's what they've obviously worked on and have sort of nailed on right now in their careers. They're very process driven. They understand their games, their strengths, their weaknesses, and the outcome for them doesn't determine the way they prepare leading into a contest. I think if you as an individual, as a professional athlete, if you have strong processes that you can lean back on and fall back on consistently, you're probably going to give yourself the best chance of success. So, and that's what these two boys have.
Definitely. Now I'll ask you what might be a bit of a tricky question, but I'm sure you can handle a bit of pressure. From an SA perspective, I guess this debate could actually go on and on even after this interview. Looking at talent, is South Africa cultivating talent at the right time, or are we focusing enough on junior guys, or are we waiting for the guys to bloom a bit later, then picking them? Has South Africa cricket got the right approach to that, or were they just picking guys when they're in form? Has South African cricket got the right balance in terms of picking guys when they're in form, or should they pick guys in form, or should they identify talent from a young age and keep them going through, or is it a bit of a mix between the two?
I think it's a little bit of a mix between the two. If I'm looking at some of the players that have been in the squads of late, Ryan Rickleton's and Marco Jansen, these types of players, they've done really well in the domestic scene for a while. I do think we have to also understand as a nation, when you lose Hashim Amla, Faf du Plessis, Dale Steyn, A.B. de Villiers, Morne Morkel, JP Dumini, that's a heck of a talented group to lose in pretty much the space of 2-3 years. To replace that is going to take time. And these names that we've mentioned, players coming through the system, they're talented boys. They're good cricketers. But we can, as a nation, I guess we always have high expectations of our national team.
Always.
But we have to also understand that we are in a little bit of a rebuilding phase, and it's going to take time. I think the more opportunities we give to these types of players and we back them at that level, they will come good. There's no doubt in my mind that they will come good. But we are in a little bit of a rebuild phase, and I think we just have to understand that as frustrating as it can be at times, as a supporter, but I think that's just the reality.
Yeah, I agree with you. We have to be patient. Things don't always go the way we want, but we just have to keep plugging at it, it's just how it works. You can't always have it easy. It's
That's
not,
it. Yeah.
Anyway, but you've got some nice young prospects coming to the Dolphins. You impressed with their stats so far? Impressed how they've been going along?
Yeah, some lovely young boys we've got. Obviously, the challenge with young kids is inconsistencies. But again, that you've got to accept that as a coach and just keep working on and trying to get the best out of them, trying to get them to understand processes, game plans, and these little details. But there's no doubt that there's some serious talent that we've got within our squad, young talent, boys that will, given time and exposure, I think will have very good careers at a high level.
No, definitely. Yeah, the Dolphins are always an exciting prospect. Always, I believe, play good cricket, and it's good that these guys are coming through in keeping that name quite high. But was it an aim of yours to make the Dolphins, I'd say, probably the biggest name in SA cricket? You know, because when you look at Titans, they seem to have a rather big trophy cabinet. But I'm sure you're also ambitious to also win as much as you can, but in, I can say, the most honest and driven way, if I can call it that.
Yeah. Look, I mean, we as professional coaches and working in the professional sporting industry, the expectation is to always win, and we want to be the best that we can possibly be. So when we took over, we knew that we needed to be better as a team, and we also understood that we had the skills within the squad, but we needed to find a way of blending the two together. And I think, like I said, the boys have brought in, and we've played some really good cricket over the years, which have resulted in trophies. You need some luck along the way. We had that. And we've turned those good performances into trophies, which has been great. We are in a little bit of a difficult moment as a team currently, but I think that's also part of the journey for this group. But we're looking forward to the challenges that come ahead for sure.
No, that's good, and that's how you learn. Imraan, I'm a big believer in that. That's how you learn your lessons. And yes, you might have a few young guys who are making mistakes, but hey, that's what they've got to take it on the chin. It's part of the game. But when the One Day Cup is over, do you guys sort of use it as a time for reflection? You guys sit down as a squad and say, okay, right, yes, you got that right, we got that wrong. How much off time do you guys have before you actually start getting back into the swing of things again, once the One Day Cup is over?
Look, obviously the way the game is at the moment in South Africa, the boys actually don't have a lot of time off. Once the season's done, I think there's going to be a group of boys that then move on to an SAA tour that's coming up sort of the back end of April. Some of the boys tend to go overseas to play club cricket in the UK. Obviously, there's your national academy players that will go on to have a winter up in the Highveld. So it's quite a busy. The winter is quite a busy period. From a squad perspective, we'd probably take a month or so off before we start our actual preseason again. I think it's also important for the guys to get away a little bit, and just to recharge the batteries, if you want to call it that. So yeah, but we will obviously analyze the season, look at the areas and the gaps that we or the areas that we were good at and the areas that we need to improve on before we reconvene again for preseason.
No, definitely. It's always good to look back and check out a few things. But what's important to move forward in the same breath as well. But let's talk about you personally. Where did your love for cricket come from? Where did it start?
Yeah, started a very long time ago. Right? Look, I think I've started in the KFC mini cricket program. Obviously, my schooling career was at an Islamic school, Orient Islamic School. We didn't really play sport too much. It wasn't massive at that time. I guess I was fortunate that KZN Cricket had sent scouts to our schools to identify talent, and obviously that's how I was sort of identified. And from there, moved on to DHS. I guess once I had moved to DHS, that's probably when it really started. Yeah, so it was from a very young age.
Never look back. That's good. But you've also actually coached a bit of the SAA side, and I think it's always good to, push yourself. Have you got ambitions to coach at a national level more often?
Look, I mean, those opportunities were nice opportunities that were presented to me by Cricket South Africa. Great to experience how your national teams operate, both the SAA and the Proteas team. So it was a fascinating couple of weeks that I spent in both sort of changing rooms and environments. But look, my focus and goal is purely on the Dolphins. I've not thought of anything other than the Dolphins. We want to be the best that we can be. If I look at what we've done thus far, it's been good, but obviously there's still so much more that we can achieve as a team. And that's what we want to put our hard work and effort towards that cause.
No, definitely. Well, yeah, Imraan, it's going to be really good to watch the Dolphins as they carry on for the next couple of seasons. But some feedback on this new franchise system. It's my first time actually talking to a coach. I've chatted to quite a few players how they see this franchise system. But from a coach's perspective, how have you seen it? Looking at the 4-day competition, obviously the domestic one-day cup as well. How have you found this franchise system? What stands out for you the most?
I mean, I think it's a nice system. I remember starting my career in a very similar sort of setup, provincial setup. I think it just creates a little bit more identity with the fans. Your Boland, almost those types of regions, your spectators would relate and identify more with the team. So definitely, I think it's the right way. But again, like with anything, any new change, it's gonna take time, I think, before we see the benefits of the system. I like the idea of promotion and relegation as well. I think it keeps every single game on edge, and there's something to play for. You can never just meander through a season thinking that you'll just come back next year. So every game is important, and so it's given a nice edge to the competition.
Yeah, definitely. So I just want to confirm, because I hear different stories. That promotion relegation, is that happening at the end of this season, or is it only for next season?
I think it only happens at the end of next season.
Yeah. I thought as much. Yeah. No, okay.
And thereafter, I think it's on a yearly. It's on a yearly.
Well, the stakes are high. Yeah. No, but
it's good. I mean, I think it's when you want to be a top level athlete, you're going to have to deal with pressures,
Yeah.
And this is just one of them, which is good.
No, definitely. Imraan, as we sort of draw towards an end, what's your gut feel on the Bangladesh series? Are South Africa going to take it? Because there's lots of banter now because we've lost the ODI series, but we've done so well in test matches against India. Only 2 test matches. How are we going to fare against Bangladesh? What's your gut feel?
I think it might be closer than we think. And I say that because it's going to be quite a new test team with a few, obviously, debutants. A lot of experience has been taken out of the squad, obviously, due to the IPL. Some of your senior bowlers, for example, won't be there. So I expect it to be a little bit closer than perhaps it should. But I do think that we will win the test series.
Yeah, it was interesting because they've just taken Alan Donald across. And, geez, anyone who knows our conditions better. So that's, wow, yeah. But anyway, no, I'm sure we'll be all right. Again, it's an opportunity for guys who maybe were on borderline now. Now they get picked. They're going to prove themselves. I think it's good competition. Really, really good. But yeah, it all makes it interesting. Imraan, last act, wishing you well for the remainder of the One Day Cup and then for your future endeavors. Been really good to chat to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks a million, Ryan. Again, thanks for having me on your show, and all the best to you as well.
Thank you very much, my man.